So I have been covering the Rh negative blood type, which is the blood type of the royals and the ones that run the world, this matrix. And that is from the monkeys, right? It comes from the rhesus monkey. So this is from the recent Planet of the Apes. For thousands of years, humans ruled this planet. Their hubris would lead to their downfall, which means their pride. A man-made virus gave rise to an intelligent species of ape. For humans, okay, had the reverence effect, robbing them of the intelligence and ability to speak. As ape and human struggled to coexist, one ape rose up and sacrificed everything for his kind. His name was Caesar, as in Julius Caesar. Okay, I covered this before. So you see, it was a virus that robbed us of our intelligence. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a video of a French, I believe, scientist that speaks of a virus that was going to turn people into humans. And he's going to talk about how it's going to settle in the brain because our brain has, our pineal gland has crystal waters. That is Abba's throne room, the crystal waters. So it's going to take over the person's mind. And the French are the bloodline of the Merovingian kings, the Papal bloodline. And who runs the Vatican? The Rothschilds. So you know this whole war that they're saying, this drug war with Venezuela? Well, and they tell you how China is the one behind all the drugs. Well, actually, it's the same people. The Rothschilds are the one behind human trafficking and the drugs. And the tunnels that run from Canada all the way to Mexico, that is for human trafficking and drugs. So this so-called drug war that they're trying to do is just depopulation, like they always do. Wars are for the population and for financial gain. That's what it is for. So it's all the same people. These are the bloodlines of the Planet of the Apes, the rise of the apes. These are the Rh negative blood type. These are your Neanderthal races, your Wildman that took over the world. Why do you think they keep on making so many different parts of Planet of the Apes? How many Planet of the Apes do we need to have? Even the last part, one of the characters, they made it from Elon Musk. They role modeled it after Elon Musk, the one that's going to put the chip on people's heads. Come on, guys. I'm sharing this quote from Benjamin Franklin. They tells you, you see these Moors? So all Africa, Asia, and Russia, Italy, Spain, France, they were black. They were black Moors. Those are your black nobilities, including what? Asia, China. So the wild men were the ones that overtook their kingdoms and rewrote history and whitewashed everything. So there were two Moors. So Japhet of the European Asia, Eurasia. So there were Moors. And then there's the Moors here, the Canaanites and Hamites. They were Moors too, but they're two different bloodlines. Ham and Japhet, they're Moors, but they're two different bloodlines. And Shem are the red nations. That's why Beyonce, Queen Bee, she is of the lineage of the black nobility because she is related to the Queen of England. These are your black Moors. So they again, they were black before the Moors were taken down by the wild man, the Neanderthal races, and that's when they rewrote and whitewashed history, and that includes China. I also meant to say that the vaccine would turn people into zombies, not humans.
Buddha's hair. No Chinese person's hair looked like that. The Buddha has knotty hair. Every time you see the Buddha, his hair is knotted.
Ancient images from China tell a story that few know, and even fewer want to talk about. Who were these people? And why do they resemble early African civilizations? They were still here just a century ago, but today they're almost erased from history. What happened?
Independently from everyone else, from Homo erectus, here in China.
Before the project started, I was hoping that I could identify or could be able to find the evidence that support independent origin of Chinese in China, because I'm a Chinese and came from China, and through the education process, I always believed that there was something special about Chinese.
He singled out a male genetic marker which only appeared about 80,000 years ago in Africa. So any man who carries that marker must have recent African ancestors and can't be descended from the more ancient Asian Homo erectus. Jin took DNA from over 160 ethnic groups around East Asia. Over 12,000 samples. What did you find?
We did not see even one single individual that could be considered as the descendant of the Homo erectus in China. Rather, everybody was a descendant of our ancestors from Africa.
The result couldn't have been any clearer.
Before they bleached the bloodline in the Meiji era, you had the Kuro, the Black Kings. Yeah, look it up. Kuro means black, means king. Same word they use now for black paint. It used to mean us. Ever heard of the Jomon? The people with thick hair, dark skin, and broad faces? Those were the original islanders. Every archaeologist worth their student loans knows it. The bones don't lie, but the university paycheck do. Check the Tohoku University digs. They literally found afro-textured hair impressions in ancient pottery. Receipts, baby. Then you had the Satsuma and Ryukyu nobles down in Okinawa, darker than half your cousins on funeral day in July. They traded with Africa and Indonesia before Europe could even spell ship. You want sources. Look at Portuguese travel logs from the 1500s. They describe the rulers as brown and tattooed like Moors. And don't get me started on the black Buddhist monks coming up from Sri Lanka and India. They're the ones who taught martial arts to China, before Bruce Lee even became a thesis topic. That's right, Shaolin didn't start with no pale ball extras in kung fu movies. Go look up Bodhidharma. He ain't white, he ain't East Asian. That man looked like he eats fufu and sparring for breakfast. Before they painted everybody pale and pretended we ain't never existed, the rulers of the East looked more like your aunties and uncles after a hot summer day. These were Jomon queens, Shang kings, Okinawan sea lords, black shoguns, the Moorish monarchs who ran the Silk Road before silk even had a price tag. But then the Meiji boys got insecure, China started bleaching its history books, the Mongols got whitewashed like they dropped into a bucket of baby powder, and suddenly everybody want to act like Asia been pale since the Shar-Chow dynasty. Lies. Before the Eurasia, Europeans were still writing about black nobles in Japan, calling them Moorish Asiatics and drawing them with afros, broad noses, and royal kimonos.
In an old video from 1995, a theology professor named Pierre Gilbert warned of mandatory vaccines that would turn recipients into zombies. He speaks in French, so I will translate. In the biological destruction, there are the organized tempests on the magnetic fields. What will follow is the contamination of the bloodstreams of mankind, creating intentional infections. This will be enforced via laws that will make vaccination mandatory. And these vaccines will make possible to control people. The vaccines will have liquid crystals that will become hosted in the brain cells, which will become micro receivers of electromagnetic fields, where waves of very low frequencies will be sent. And through these low frequency waves, people will be unable to think. You'll be turned into a zombie. Don't think of this as a hypothesis. This has been done. Think of Rwanda. There isn't much information I could find about Pierre Gilbert, but what he said 26 years ago certainly rings true today. In 2016, The Guardian published Genetically Engineered Magnetoprotein Remotely Controls Brain and Behavior. Here we can see zebrafish larvae that have been injected with magneto being manipulated with magnetic fields. In March of 2020, Defense One published an article on how hydrogel biosensors are ready to be injected into people's bodies, funded by DARPA and Bill Gates. If you search magnetic nanoparticles, you will find several articles and videos explaining the so-called benefits of this invasive technology that can control parts of the human body via external frequencies. Livestock needs to be branded and tracked. And the enslavement of humanity is voluntary, which is why the so-called vaccines are voluntary. And sadly, there seems to be millions of people eagerly lining up to be state property.
Now I'm going to be very honest with you. I am no longer optimistic anymore. And the reason is very simple. The reason is because I'm afraid that these RNA vaccines, mod RNA vaccines, whatever you want to call them, have already done their job. And what their job has been, and this is incredible, was not even known to the planners because they didn't realize that what they were doing. But it is what I said years ago, that the vessels throughout the body are going to be attacked from top to toe. This is something that never happens in any disease, okay? Systemic, meaning the brain, the heart, the liver, everything can be attacked, the vessels. And the trouble is that it's turned out to be true. So this systemic vasculitis leads to destruction of brain cells, obviously. And that is what we are now experiencing. We're seeing, I'm afraid to say, billions of people whose brains are not working anymore, not as they should be. They are altered, and they do not have, they don't have the willpower anymore. They do not have the intelligence anymore to move things. And so the only chance we have is to stop this mod RNA crime, because this crime is going to destroy us. The trouble is that they're rolling out this RNA vaccines all over the place, and people don't realize this is being done.
When they put the nanobot in you, it becomes a part of your DNA.
It becomes a part of your DNA.
This is the mark of the beast.
This is the mark of the beast.
I was in Washington, D.C., teaching the Word of God just a few weeks ago. I was talking with a man that works in the federal government. He was in a real high position with the Obamacare health care plan. And I asked him a question. I said, I've read in the Obamacare health care that by the March of this next year, we will all have to have a national ID card. He said they have changed that. They're not going to give you a national ID card anymore. They're going to give you a nanobot. You may not know what that is. Nanobots are tiny little robots that mankind can control from an outside source. The tests they have been doing on those things is they take a man in prison that's there for life with no chance of parole, and they inject him with these nanobots, a little tiny microscopic robot. And then he said they can take a man that's perfectly normal, and from a computer you can control this man and make him become a raging maniac. Or you can take a man that's a raging maniac and make him a sweet, nice person. He says that they can control you with these nanobots. Eventually this is going to come to the whole world. I don't know when it's coming to Norway. When they put these little things in you, they can control you. They can make you well with these things, or they can make you sick with these things. They can kill you with these things. Sounds kind of scary, doesn't it? But if I hadn't have got this from a source in the head of the federal government, I would not have believed it. Now, this man is in a very high position in Washington, D.C. I told him when he told me this, I said, nobody will take this thing. He said, they will knock the doors down to get this thing. I said, why? Why would a man or a woman desire to have this thing injected into them that can control their body? He said, because what they can do, they will promise you a healthy living with no sickness and no disease. You won't have to have health care. They will take care of you.
To us.
How much of our drug supply is controlled by China?
We're so dependent on China that if they shut the door on sending medicines to us, our hospitals would shut down within a couple of months.
In the case of some drugs, like antibiotics, China has a total stranglehold.
We can't make penicillin anymore. The last penicillin plant in the United States closed in 2004.
How much of our...
You see, it's very interesting that you should bring all of this up, because where do the blacks fit in? I know that you use them. They've been part of the Jewish Communist Party in the United States, a vast majority. What's going to be their end when this is all over?
Well, the Schwarzes, if the truth be known, came here with our father Lucifer 75,000 years ago when he lost that battle, only temporarily, though, in the heavens, because we're on a comeback. We're the comeback kids if there ever was one. But all the Schwarzes, what can you say? You know, they got a good time step. They dance good. A couple of them can sing. They make some nice barbecue. And they're real good for selling drugs, too, because they all love the drugs. And we make a lot of money off of selling the drugs. You do know that we control all the drug world and have since Rothschild got the opium wars in China going. We've been controlling the drugs ever since that. We let a few in here and there to make some money, and they get arrested and they go off to jail for that. But we make the big money. We're the wholesalers. We're the wholesalers of everything in the world. See?
The entire opioid epidemic in America was all due to one Zionist Jewish family, the Sackler family. They're responsible for the deaths of 500,000 Americans, and the severe addiction of between 3 to 6 million Americans, which had their lives ruined, pushed away from their families, living on the streets, and many even ending up in jail. Unlike the Sackler family, which in the end would not serve any jail time at all. In the mid-90s, the Sackler family produced a pill called Oxycontin, which could not get FDA approved because it was so strong and addictive that it was actually considered stronger than street level H. The Sackler family had to bribe the FDA into pushing it through, which there's blame on the FDA for that because they're supposed to protect us from this sort of stuff. And for the next 24 years, while receiving data that this pill was addictive and killing people, the Sackler family was still pushing pharmacists to prescribe it to their patients and pushing it out there to all everyday Americans to get addicted so that they can make insane amounts of money, billions of dollars. And the money that they gained destroying society and causing all this addiction, they used that money to put their names all inside museums, colleges, even hospitals. They even used that money to fund anti-Muslim groups, and even funded big politicians, Republican and Democrat, like Bush and Obama, and helped to fund fellow Zionist Jewish politicians like Chuck Schumer and keep them into office. They used money off our destruction to promote themselves and keep their people in power. And how does this story end? We don't know how much money they profited off of this, but we know it was at least over $10 billion from how much they siphoned off their own pharma business. They received no jail time whatsoever. Their addict victims ended up doing more time than them, and they had to pay a $7 billion fine, which they still made a huge profit. They got away with this because they're a bunch of Zios, our court system's run by a bunch of Zios, and our media protects them, and they're a bunch of Zios too. They're all together and they're all part of the same system that uses us and destroys us and profits in the process. And they don't care about us, they only care about themselves.
We're behind the invention. The Jews were behind the invention and creation of these COVID vaccines that are going to save humanity now. The Moderna vaccine. Okay, the Moderna vaccine, the chief medical officer in charge of research and development, the person who was in charge of putting it all together is the Israeli scientist Tal Zaks. Pfizer. Who's the CEO of Pfizer? In other words, the person who heads the company. Albert Bourla, who is a Greek Jew. And then, who is the chief scientist? Chief scientist is Mikael Dolsten, a Jew from Sweden. Both COVID vaccines that are now going to rescue humanity, both were created by Jews.
59 years old, in good health. I'm not working in the front line, so my type is not recommended to get vaccination. My type is not recommended to get vaccination.
Myself have not taken the vaccine yet. Why not?
So I am legally not allowed to take the vaccine at the moment. We of course consider to make that possible. It is more important for us that our co-workers and partners get vaccinated.
Why are you not legally allowed to take the vaccine?
Because you know that that there is a priority. The vaccine is not allowed to be taken outside of this priority list. And what is also important, we were even not allowed to participate in clinical trials because per law it is not possible to include company people into such trials.
CDC. The CDC that was controlling and telling our government to shut down small businesses and what they recommend for the mandates of the vaccines and Pfizer and all. At the time when COVID was being enacted, I'm going to read off the staff of who was in charge of this CDC. The director of the CDC was Rochelle Walensky, dual citizenship with Israel. She's a Jew. Deputy director of the CDC, Ann Shawalchik, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. CDC chief of staff, Sherry Berger, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. CDC chief medical officer, Mitchell Wolf, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. CDC director of the Washington office. This is pertinent to the topic. We're talking about COVID, right? Yeah. This is pertinent to COVID. So I love you, Jennifer. Yeah, please. So director of the CDC of the Washington office, Jeff Resnick, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. COVID czar, Jeff Zaints, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. COVID senior advisor, Andy Slavitt, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Assistant of Health Secretary for Human Services for our country, the Assistant of Health Secretary, Rachel Levine, transgender, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew.
Can I ask that you hold off, Christopher?
Ma'am, I'm almost done.
Mr. Wood, the chair has ruled that your comments are out of order. She's asked you to stop. The chair has...
You said Jew. There's nothing wrong with Jew. It's not derogatory. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, keep on going. Head of Pfizer Vaccines, Albert Bourla, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Pfizer chief scientist Michael Dostin, dual citizenship with Israel Jew. Moderna chief scientist Tal Zaks, dual citizenship with Israel Jew. BlackRock, everyone know BlackRock? BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, dual citizenship with Israel Jew. I said we're willing to sacrifice our ego, our reputation, and our lives. Yes, ma'am, and I love you, and I appreciate your patience. BlackRock president Rob Capital, dual citizenship with Israel Jew. The CDC chief medical officer of Johnson & Johnson, Joanne Waldstreicher, dual citizenship with Israel Jew. Chief medical officer of Merck, Michael Rosenthal, dual citizenship with Israel Jew. Head advisor of the World Economic Forum, Yuval Harari, dual citizenship with Israel Jew. And that's only talking about COVID. That's not talking about who's in charge of
Christopher, you need to stop.
About who's in control of the media or the banks. Go on. God bless you. Thank you for your patience. Who is in charge of this?
Get vaccinated. Now. 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 Be smart. Be responsible. Get vaccinated.
When you ask AI what human evolution will look like, according to the AI, human evolution started with chimps and will end with us being integrated into our robotic surroundings.
Occult, and I've noticed that AI has become very popular as of late, and I wanted to warn everybody. In my old occult world, AI not only stood for artificial intelligence, which is deeply connected to Luciferianism, because Luciferianism and transhumanism coincide with each other. Not only that, AI stood for the Akashic Index. Okay, so the Akashic Index in Sanskrit essentially means ether, air, sky. Essentially, when you open up your third eye or you make a deal with the devil, you get access to the Akashic Index. It is the spiritual compendium of all things. It is the spiritual realm. We learn in the Bible that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against wickedness and principalities in high places. Okay, so that's the high places. The Akashic Index is where the principalities, the spirits are. Okay? So when you engage with AI, artificial intelligence, who do you think you're engaging with? Be real here. Think with me. Alright? If you really don't believe me, if you think I'm full of crap, I'm very serious, ask God. Pray to Jesus. Say, Jesus, is Hannah full of crap? Is she lying to me about AI? Is AI really dangerous? And He'll reveal it to you. So yeah, AI stands for the Akashic Index. The term is so, like that, those two letters are so apropos, it's absurd. So I'm just saying, we know that Satan is the prince of the powers of the air. It's a very fancy, poetic way of saying frequency and electricity. And we know that he fell as lightning. So you mess with AI, messing with Lucifer, and literally you're opening up doorways to your life. So legit, this isn't me trying to attack your belief system. This is me saying, hey, I'm a human, and I love you, and I want you to be safe.
And sometimes the rituals might involve someone who recently died, and we'll bring them down there, and we're trying to do a ritual to bring back the Messiah, which is a Schneerson. That's it. It's more like it's not something spoken about, okay? But you can understand, just like other religions or something.
Did you hear that there was a tunnel just discovered last week that goes from Tijuana, Mexico, all the way under the U.S. and up into Vancouver, Canada? It was built by the cartels, and the U.S. governors are saying, hey, look, we're glad we found out. We're going to fill this thing full of cement, but it will cost $3 trillion worth of cement. The cartels are suing the U.S. in the Supreme Court, saying, hey, in the Treaty of Versailles and maritime law, if something is 50 feet under the surface of a country, that country doesn't have jurisdiction over it. Therefore, the U.S. cannot fill it full of cement. And the U.S. is saying, we don't care about that. It goes under our country. So it's a huge legal dispute. I'm curious if you think the cartel has rationale or the U.S. governors. This is the end of the tunnel when it comes out into Vancouver, Canada. It's incredible. The crazy thing is that they actually dug it and put the cement up. It only took them 3 years, they said, and engineers across the country and the world are in a tizzy saying, this is an engineering feat. It might be the 9th wonder of the world. But I'm curious if you think it should be filled full of cement, or maybe like they can sell it to a corporation like Amazon that could use it to actually ship products and for logisticers.
Wait, who was found to be training and funding both the Medellin cartels in Colombia and the cartels in Mexico? The IDF?
First moved out to LA, I did a topless scene in a low-budget horror movie about a killer gorilla. Oh, after I did it, I felt so ashamed. Thankfully, that thing never came out.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, serial apist. Howard found it online the day we met
Oh.
you. Maybe it was literally the moment you walked out the door.
Like monkeys. White people look like monkeys.
But white people are closer to monkeys in their DNA than we are, than Africans are. And I said, I think white people are more monkey because if you shave a monkey's hair, it's white under there.
Check that monkey out. Check that chimpanzee out. Shave that hair and see what you see up underneath that hair. That's white.
It's just the hair. It's not the skin color. If you shave a monkey, it's white.
He said when you actually scientifically look at white people, you know, monkeys are hairy. White people are the hairiest people
on Earth.
On Earth. I am really hairy. Like seriously.
I don't shave.
No, I shave all. I'm shaving.
I don't.
Now. I got hair on my back,
coming up
my chest is all hairy.
You got hair coming
I got
up
hair on my ears.
Collar. Okay.
Look at him straight in the face. Go down to the zoo and stare at the monkey. Watch him, and then look up at the white man. Take an old white man and an old white woman and put them there beside them in the cage and compare them. And after that, you will see that those are the two that favor each other and not the so-called Negroes. I dare any one of his scientists to try and disprove it.
And monkeys are more white because they have thin lips, no ass, little dicks, and they take shit that ain't theirs.
I want y'all to hear this real good. I'm 5'9". If I had a white dude to come up here that's 6'10", my legs will come up to his titty nipples. Black men and women got long legs and short bodies. White men and women got short legs and long bodies. Now, if all of us up here took off our clothes and one white boy took off his clothes, which one you think would have hair all over their body? Huh? So why are you gonna let this cracker convince you that that looks like you?
Follow along this row here. Chimp, human, identical, identical, identical. There's a difference. Walk along, walk along, walk along, all the same, identical, no difference at all between the human and the chimpanzee, exactly the same, exactly the same. Now we see another difference there. A versus G. Walk along, walk along, walk along. And there are no more differences in that whole row. Almost all of the human genome and the chimpanzee genome is identical.
Keep trying to tell y'all these teachings are right and exact. If you really want to learn more, I need you to text Origins to 219-299-49. And don't
been trying to tell you all along, but you never listen. Buzz Aldrin, the famous astronaut who was on the moon, was trying to tell us that the moon landing was fake the whole time. Just watch this video.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest. It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
I remember my parents waking me up and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No,
which
you
was
didn't. No, you didn't.
What?
You watched animation. So you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memory.
Not a bad line. Not a bad line.
There is no such thing as gravitational pull. We lied to you.
Maybe this whole operation was never really about reaching the moon. What if the entire mission was just a carefully planned distraction to keep us from paying attention to what's actually happening here on Earth? And this is why...
This is the first time we're going to send humans to the moon, and we're going to have humans in low Earth orbit. That is awesome. Like, whoop, whoop.
Here it comes.
Did y'all hear it?
Found out where all the missing immigrants from Alligator Alcatraz are. It's not fucking good. So this is happening in Florida right now too, everybody. Yeah, that's just a coincidence, right? You know what else is a coincidence? It's a 40-minute drive! No shit, that's where they're going! Relax. Can you pull him up? You need to back up. You need to back up.
I can be right here.
Or he's gonna get better again. Go.
But did you hit my car?
No. Inside. You can go inside now.
I'm not going to. I can be out here.
Stand here. Do you have any weapons? Any knives on you? Federal agents from Homeland Security. You understand that?
I don't have anything on me.
Get inside.
Get
inside.
I know. Where's it at?
Are you Wilmer? Yes, I am. What's your last name? Toyo Martinez.
Where is it?
Right there. Get inside. Let's go.
I can grab the socks.
Yeah, that's cool, but I want the truck. You stole the truck, and I got you in video, and I called Anaheim PD already. They're aware. It doesn't matter. There's a GPS on it. Just to let you, there's a GPS on it. He's right here. Call the police.